Good evening, Flosstube. Welcome back, and a special thank you to all my subscribers, whether you're new or whether you are returning. I truly appreciate it that you take the time to watch the videos and leave comments and give thumbs up. I truly enjoy that. If you're new here, this is a cross-stitch channel. My name is Annemiek and this is the Handwerk Boetiek. I'm a shop owner in Roden, the Netherlands, and I've been in business for almost 18 years now. Who knew that this 18th year was going to be so challenging, special, rewarding, and pretty much, you know, completely different from what I expected it to be. Anyways, I'm a bit later than normally. This is why I'm filming in the evening. I had to work today and I just wanted to take my time to catch up with you all and show you what I've been doing, because my mania is going pretty well. I'm rather pleased with what with the schedule I've set for myself. If you haven't seen the other videos, what I do is I have 2 new starts every week on which I work for 2 days. Then I have a WIP on which I work for another 2 days. And then on the 7th day, I can work on whatever I want. I can just not start something new. Gotta be a bit realistic here. So far, I think I have not really finished any of my starts. I think I see red. I think I finished that before May 1st. I should have checked that before. Well, anyways, doesn't really matter. But I'm making good progress on my projects. I'm going to show 3 new shop models that we have up here in the shop. I have 2 FFOs, and then I have a bunch of WIPs. What otherwise could I have, considering it's mania? Starting with the FFOs, this is Rabbit Patch by Heart in Hand Needle Art. It was finished by my friend Kobe, who did this expertly. I just love how he turned out. She put a little heart on the back so that she could turn the pillow inside out here and cover up the cut in the fabric. And this is what he looks like now. So Rabbit is in the shop. This tassel is just really adorable. I had a lot of fun stitching him. I stitched him, I think, in January of this year, and he can just hang around for a while. It's not really an Easter design. It's more like spring. And after the beautiful weather we've had for the past couple weeks, it's back to being grayish, gloomish, and quite a bit colder, actually. I had to turn up the heat today to stay warm in the office. Then another finish that came back from the framer is this one. This is Autumn Alphabet by the Scarlet House. I stitched this while being in Dallas and Nashville, and I just love how it turned out with the frame and the pumpkin and the colors. It's just really nice. It'll be sort of like a remembrance piece of, you know, sort of like what life was before. I still find it hard to believe that we had market the beginning of March. And of course, everybody had heard about COVID-19, but nobody acted like, you know, it was anywhere close or near, or, you know, that you might infect other people. And then a week later, a little over a week later, you know, my university closed down. We had to work from home. You had to keep your distance. You had to stay at home. You had to only go out if you really needed to. And just the whole world turned on its feet. But we're doing fine. We're still healthy here. Fortunately, my part of the country does not have the same amount of COVID-19 patients as other parts of the country have. And we're just really grateful that we're, you know, healthy and still able to work, still able to send out orders, still able to receive orders. And yeah, like I said, it's hard to imagine that 8 weeks ago we had market and it felt like we didn't have a care in the world. And, you know, and now there's like all these new worries that you have in your head and that you have to take care of. Anyways, back to stitching. If you follow me on Instagram, I'll put my Instagram handle in the description box below. I have one for myself and I have one for the shop. The shop is a public account. My personal account is private. So just let me know if you want to follow and I can add you to the list. But this is what I worked on yesterday. So this was one of my WIPs. It's Button Eye Cat by the Scarlet House again. And what I did is I started working on this, the background. I was pretty tired yesterday, so I needed something that was a little simple to do. So once I got the outline done, I could just start filling in. I love this filling in. It's just so easy, and it's, you know, you don't really have to count anymore. I really enjoy it, and I love how this kitten is looking. So yeah, I'll continue working on this. I might be able to finish this during Mania. Then over the weekend, let me see. I don't think I have pictures. Hold on for a second. This is one of the new models we have up in the shop. This is Swan Tree by Hello from Liz Matthews. As you can see, we chose to stitch it for a frame instead of finishing as a tree. And I just really love how this turned out. Here's the second model we got back. This is Bunny and Bee by Annie B's Folk Art. I was really looking forward to meeting her at market and see what she had in stock for us. And boy, did she had great new designs. This was one of them, and I just love it. This is another model we got back from the framer, and you might recognize it. It's LW Motive Sampler. Carol Saltbox Stitcher stitched this for her daughter when she was going through chemo. We had a very sweet lady who stitched it for us, and I am so proud to have this in the shop right now. And I'm back. On Friday, I received my Quaint Ladies Club from Dying to Stitch. I have been really looking forward to this so much. I just wanted to have, you know, a little retail therapy, have something come over the mail that I didn't put together myself and that I could just start stitching on. And Anne and Pat did a great job. This is the design by Pineberry Lane, and this is how far I got. I stitched a little bit on Friday night and I did most of this on Sunday. I changed the color of her skin to Fudge Ripple by Gentle Art. I just wanted to have it a little bit more pink in there. And what I think I might do, let me see if I can hold it like this, is give the cat a fourth leg. Kind of find it funny the way he looks now. It sort of seems like he's missing a leg over here. So I'll see if that works out. I'm gonna finish up the rest of the design first, and then we'll see how it goes. So that was this weekend. Then, let me see. Then before that, I wanted to start a little something, but it shouldn't be too big. And I really didn't want to think about threads or fabric or anything. So at market, I had picked up this little kit by Lottie Da for a friend. And it comes with the finishing materials, the 2 colors of thread, fabric, and this is how far I got. Now, I might change. It seems like I'm changing almost anything. Instead of for a friend, I might do Nashville 2020. Because like I said, I don't want to sound dramatic, but I think market the way it was might be the last way we had market the way it was. Which is not necessarily a bad thing. You know, there are changes in the world and we adjust, and we'll continue to have fun and have great markets, but it's probably going to be different. So I thought it would be nice to have something to remember this really wonderful market from, and this would be a great one. Now the border is going to be a challenge for me. I already told you I'm not big on doing borders. So I figured I would stitch one of the birds now, then start working on the border, and then sort of interchange. So once I've done a bit on the border, I might do the numbers and the flowers, do more of the border, do Nashville, do the other bird, you know, changing it up a bit. I'm not sure if I leave the border till last, that I would really enjoy stitching that. So my plan is to do one strand on this, on the border particularly, every day, and see how far that gets me. So we'll see. Anyways, I started in the middle. It's Gloriana Silks. It's 36 count straw, Weeks Dye Works linen. It's just beautiful. So that was the, oh, and look, this is how Lori from La-Di-Da attached the threads. So you don't have to make any thread keeper yourself. You can just, you know, keep this with you. I just love it. Anyways, that was last week. The beginning of last week, I think I worked, oh, this is funny. I picked out the wrong pattern for this. Anyway, I'll show you. This is how far I am on Bird's Eye View by Kathy Barrick. I really enjoy this. This is a lot of fun. And every time I'm tired at night, I'll just stitch one of these more solid blocks, and it's so relaxing. Now, I don't have a picture of the design over here. You can look it up. It's really, really pretty. There's going to be 2 more houses up here. There might be another something here. I don't know. No, I don't know. Anyways, this is it. I'm stitching this on Newcastle 3077. I'll just see if I can, if I fold it, if the color gets, if you get a good look at the color. I think this is as good as it gets. I had a couple of people ask me about this color because somebody, Leah, asked me on Facebook, and she said she wanted to know if it was a good color for Jane Fiddis. And to be honest, I think it's, if you want to stitch on 40 count, I think it's the perfect color. It is so wonderful with the colors of the silks. Makes a wonderful combination. Now, we have a new batch in stock that has a slight color change, like, you know, maybe 5%. It's a little bit different than this one, but it's still equally beautiful, and it'll be lovely for Jane Fiddis as well. We're sending out the orders that we got as fast as we can. Like I said, I think this is like my new favorite fabric color to work on. The only problem, the only issue is that it only comes in 40 count. They don't have this color in any of the other linen fabrics. So you never know. Zweigart might decide to do it in the 36 count Edinburgh or in Belfast linen, 32 count, but so far they haven't. I don't know. It's worth, you know, keeping an eye out on it, because this is really a great color if you're into reproduction samplers. Okay, just a little bit about my favorite color of linen these days. Then, also last week, I started my Bluebird sampler by Heart in Hand Needle Art. This is it. I don't know what this thread is doing here, but anyway, this is it. I love this funky bird, and I hope that this week I can work some more on the alphabet over here, and then, you know, do the vines. There's some vines and some leaves and leave them for next week. So I should be able to get this done in May as well. And then I'll turn it into one of those little pillows that Cecilia has pictured on the front of her charts. And then, you know, once this one is done, once I have finished my fair share of Maynia starts, I might go and start Ye Old Crow. I already stitched the Redbird. I think I'll leave the turkey for like later in the year, but Ye Old Crow is also one of those great, you know, bird alphabet samplers that are just lovely to stitch. And since it's all in one color, it makes also for a little more relaxing stitching. I'm not very big on changing colors a lot. Then I think I showed you my colors last time. This is Quaker Huswith by Jessie and me. And I changed the colors to silks. Now see, Nicole would just comb through and it'll be perfect. So these are the colors. Now, when I started stitching it, last time I only had 2 colors of gray, and I thought I would get away with this. But then I started stitching and I realized I needed another color of gray. So I added Taupe by Gloriana. Hold on. That's better. Which I think matches up perfectly with the other colors. And then, silly me, I had forgotten that the Swan needed to be white. So I added this mystery white. It's like an off-white, warm white. I think it's a silken colors. It came in one of those, when Thread Gatherer was still at market, she would have these packages that contained sort of like leftovers. So it could be 1 yard pieces of silk. It could be some of her other threads. It could be a lot of a color. I'll have to show you it used to be a tennis ball size. Really, I don't kid you. It was like this big. Of a sort of like fall color, multicolor silk that I got one year. And we used it to kit up, I don't know, it was like something, a special kit. So it's now down to probably like a golf ball size. And for the longest time, I could not use it. I was so proud of my tennis ball of silk that I didn't want to use it at all. So at a certain point, I was like, okay, I got to be realistic. There is not a project I'm going to stitch, since I'm not into long docks samplers to stitch. So there's not a project I'm going to stitch that requires a tennis ball sized ball of silk. So we used it for the little kits, and like I said, I still have quite a lot of it left. I'll try to remember and bring it downstairs next time. But anyways, this is going to be the color for the Swan. Now, I haven't shown this on Instagram yet. This was the piece of fabric that Kobe dyed for me. Let me see if this... So these are all the colors that you need, except for the white. The Swan is going to be in this motif. This is the taupe. This is... I think this is Arroyo. That's Arroyo. And then this here is Havana Brown. I haven't used the black. That's the one I haven't used. I think up here I'm going to use the black, and I used antique black for it, so it's not, like a real dark black. But I love how this is coming along, and it's really, the colors are doing really well on the hand-dyed fabric. So it's going to be like a really special project. So that's that. That's pretty much everything I worked on these past 12, well, actually 11 days. early evening here. I finished up for the day, and I'm going to make some dinner and then work on the shop for a while, and then hopefully by 8:30, 8:45, go upstairs and stitch some more. I think what I'm going to do is try to get some more of that background down on Button-Eyed Cat and see how far that'll get me. Now, while I was digging through, I think I was searching for fabric, probably, I found what has to be, this was like a real surprise. I didn't really know that I had ever started this project. And the other thing I didn't know is that I was actually quite far along with the project. The project I'm talking about is a really old Kathy Barracks. It's Spot the Horse. This came out in 2009. And to be perfectly honest with you, I started this in 2009. The reason I know is because I used to photograph my needlework quite a bit, even then. And when I went back, I must have just had a digital camera. Just remember, 2009, cell phones were not all around. I don't even think iPads or tablets were there. So I did this on my digital camera. And with a digital camera, for those of you who don't know, you would just take a couple of photos for, X amount of days. And then I would unplug the little disc inside, put it in my computer, and then transfer the photos from the disc to my computer so that I could actually, either send them to somebody or, in my case, just store them and have, sort of like a recollection of when did I start this project. Like I said, I was completely stupefied about that I had started it and that I was this far. So this is how far I am on Spot the Horse, which I think is quite a bit, actually. There's still a bit to do, but if you look at it, I've done this, and I need to do the tree and the leaves and just a couple motifs. So this is going to go back into my rotation, and not necessarily during Mania, but I do want to finish it, as I think it would be a perfect addition to our shop models. And also because Kathy came out with a visit from Spot at Market, which is the same horse, different location. And I'm not sure, there's something, maybe one of you knows, I think there's another Spot chart out there. Now, the very weird thing was that I found my work in progress, or UFO, whatever you want to phrase it. But I then spent about, I think, an hour to try to find the chart, because at the time I was like, oh, I'm going to work on it right away. Well, of course, the chart was never to be found. And I had to wait for our Hoffman order that came in last week to get the new chart in. Then I thought, I'm sure I have the silks. It's stitched with needlepoint silks. Didn't have those anywhere laying around. Oh, let me not show the chart. Had to look for the silks. I think there's still one color that I decided to go for, a slightly lighter color. And the green was not to be found. We need a reorder from Needlepoint Ink. But I figured I have enough greens so that I can use one of those instead of maybe what's called for. Now, the other thing that's interesting, this is stitched on what I think is like one of the very first companies that did hand-dyed fabrics, as in Birds of a Feather. This is Meadow Lark by Birds of a Feather, 36 count. It's gorgeous. It's, I don't know if you can see it, maybe here. It is incredibly pretty. I got a half yard. I split a yard with a friend at the time who also had a shop. I don't think I would have bought it at the time if she didn't offer to split it with me. This is such pretty fabric. It's soft, it's beautifully colored. I have a piece that's called Barn Owl as well, also 36 count. I'll make sure to take that downstairs and show you next time. And I was wondering, are there any stitchers out there, Brenda, Laura, Carol, Nicole, who still have some of these colors? Because they had more than 2 colors, I know that. I don't think, I've been through my stash, I think these are the only 2 colors that I have. It would be fun to see if other people have more of their colors or maybe stitched something on them. Like I said, this was in 2009. I'm pretty sure R&R was around with their hand-dyed fabrics, but I don't think that Weeks was dyeing fabrics. I don't think Picture This Plus was dyeing fabric. Maybe I'm just wrong. I just know that at Market, this company, you know, you were just like, oh my gosh, they have hand-dyed fabrics. Probably the Heart's Content, Maureen Appleton had hand-dyed Glen Shield in it. It's just fun. It's like you realize, you know, it's been 11 years, I know that, but you realize how far innovation has worked. We have so many choices now. There's so many companies that dye fabrics now. And back then, it was really, really special. I thought it was really expensive back then as well, which is why I never bought anymore. And I'm like, oh, why didn't I do that? But never mind. I'll just treasure whatever I'm going to stitch on this and on the Barn Owl. The Barn Owl is more like a light grayish beige kind of color. Anyway, for next time. And let me know if you have Birds of a Feather fabric or if you stitch something on it. I'd really like to know. So Spot the Horse is going to be in my rotation at some point. I have no idea when. And then I have found the fabric. I'm trying to remember if I showed this. I really wanted to stitch Antique Birds and Cages by Shakespeare's Peddler. And I think I'm going to use this. This. This is Slugbuck by Silken Colors, or Thread Gatherer. It's Silken Colors. And I think it would look really nice for this particular design. It's, maybe if I put it here. It's got that brown, bit of grayish tone. I'm go for platinum Edinburgh linen. Maybe Newcastle. I have to see. Sometimes stitching on 36 count is more relaxing than 40 count is for me. So I'll just have to decide, you know, whenever I'm going to start this. When I set up my schedule for Mania, I thought it was enough that I would say, okay, I can have 2 new starts each week, and I'll work on a WIP each week. Now, what I didn't calculate was that I hadn't planned out which project I was going to start. I thought I would just leave that in the wind and then decide, you know, in whatever mood I was in, whichever project I was going to start. Having started several projects now, I can tell that sometimes a new project takes just too much energy in the evening to start. Once I'm started, it's not a problem, but to start and like this one, where I have to figure out what the fabric is going to be, sometimes that just, you know, it's not going to happen in the evening. I work pretty long days, which is fine. But then once I settle down to stitch, I don't want to have to make another decision. So I might leave this till the weekend and decide on fabric then. I might pick up a few possibilities and talk it over with Kobe on Friday. I'll just see. I've decided that if I do not start 2 new pieces every week, that's not going to be a problem. You know, it's supposed to be fun. And so far, I'm really enjoying myself. I think this whole mania feels like it's, you know, it's a bit of a party every day. And the other thing I learned is that for next year, what I'll probably do is kit things up more completely than I've done this year. So, you know, lesson learned. Now the next one, I think I showed it. It's Caroline Behringer. I think I talked about this last time. Ever since Lori from Mischievous Stitches showed it, I was like, I really want to work on that as well. But this is another one where, you know, I got most of the floss colors, which are just beautiful. But the fabric. I'm inclined to do this on 36 count Winter Moon, which is Edinburgh number 99. Decisions. Again, I might wait till the weekend and see what I do and whether I start it or not. The one thing I'm a little concerned about is I have a few projects now going on that have alphabets on them. And as much as I love stitching alphabets, this one will ask you to start and end the thread every single letter. So I'm not 100% sure I'm up to that now. If I'm not, I'll just, you know, leave it till I have a couple of the Mania pieces finished and then start this later in the year. But just in case I do, the threads are already in there, so that's always a good sign. Now, I pre-recorded 3 other new models that we have in the shop that got back from the framer. So I'll include those at the end of this video. And then I wanted to show, I have a couple of pieces upstairs that are just personal projects that either I stitched for myself a long time ago, that are out of print, that my mom stitched for me. And I thought it would be fun to share, you know, 1 or 2 every video. And this one is really special. This is the 2018 scissor fob that Shepherd's Bush put out. And they didn't come with these scissors, but I really enjoyed the Gingham Special Edition scissors. And they had these in their little cupboard. And I was like, I need to have those. And that'll tell you what's so special about this. I picked the kit up at Shepherd's Bush. I was in Salt Lake for my summer vacation, just for a week. I spent the most of the afternoon and evening with Terry and Tina. We had a wonderful time. We had a very, very either late lunch or early dinner that lasted a long time, but it was just wonderful. And I wanted to have this as a memory of that wonderful trip. And then when I got back home, my mom said, okay, let me stitch this for you to make it even more special. So my mom stitched this for me. And then on the back, she put, I don't know if you can see it, it says Salt Lake City, July 2018. And over here, it says Mom. And these are the scissors that I keep with me when I'm stitching upstairs. I don't take them anywhere else. I don't want to lose them. I don't want anything happening to them. But these scissors are the ones I use when I'm stitching upstairs on the couch and Pookie's watching me or sleeping or doing what cats do in the evening. And I just wanted to show you. It's not something I have available in the shop at the moment. I don't even think you can get it anymore. I think they do like 1 kit, a scissor fob for each year. And once the year is over, you know, unless, of course, they still have some in stock, but otherwise, the kit is gone. So that's a very special memory for me. Now, do enjoy the other 3 models that we got back. And I'll be back, I hope in like 10 or 12 days again to show you the rest of my stitching. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, keep stitching, and, you know, enjoy life as much as we can. It's not that bad after all. So take good care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. This is one of the new models we have up in the shop. This is Swan Tree by Hello from Liz Matthews. As you can see, we chose to stitch it for a frame instead of finishing as a tree. And I just really love how this turned out. Here's the second model we got back. This is Bunny and Bee by Annie B's Folk Art. I was really looking forward to meeting her at market and see what she had in stock for us. And boy, did she have great new designs. This was one of them, and I just love it. This is another model we got back from the framer, and you might recognize it. It's LW Motive Sampler. Carol Saltbuck Stitcher stitched this for her daughter when she was going through chemo. We had a very sweet lady who stitched it for us, and I am so proud to have this in the shop right now.